I've been training consistently for 3 years now, and in that time, I've been able to completely transform my skinny fat body. This completely changed my entire life forever. In this video, I'm going to share all the lessons I learned that I had to learn the hard way so that you can achieve the same results or better faster. So here are the lessons. The first lesson I learned is that I was doing too much volume. Now, I started off super skinny fat. I thought the best training routines were the ones that you saw on YouTube that said 15-minute ab shredder, 15-minute push-up challenge. That's what I thought training was. It was super intense and I hated it. I always hated doing those routines. So I quit. Then there was one time where I just said, okay, I'm going to do 20 push-ups a day on my knees, obviously, because I wasn't strong enough. And that's where I started loving the gym because I was seeing progress, very little though. These were the first 2 months, but I did see progress and I saw my number of push-ups going up. Then I joined the gym. And here is where the training disease started. I was watching YouTube videos from these big fitness influencers and YouTubers, and they were giving me BS. They were saying, train 6 times a week, push-pull legs, 4 sets of 12. I was fed the idea that more is better. There were times where I was even training every single day, but not just once a day, 2 times a day. That was insane. I was completely lied to. And training like this, I made progress the first 6 months, but then I completely stagnated and I started actually losing muscle. So I made progress, huge hype, because I had noob gains. These were the noob gains. Then stagnant. Like, I looked at myself 1 year, in my 1 year anniversary, I saw myself in the mirror in the gym and I was doing preacher curls and I saw my arm and I said, no way anyone would ever believe I've been training for an entire year. I thought more was better. I was planted that seed in my mind by the big YouTubers that more is better, but it really isn't. I had to learn that lesson the hard way. After months of training 2 times a day, waking up at 6 a.m., doing 1 session, then going with my friends in the afternoon, doing another session. I was training way too much. Then I started hating the gym and I stopped going. And my second lesson is too little volume. I was resting too much. Then I said, okay, I'm going to start going 3 times a week, start going less. And I saw amazing gains. I was making progress finally. Then during that time, I actually found Mike Mentzer. And I was like, yes, I was making lots of gains going less. And then this guy is saying that he only trained 4 times a week and he was a Mr. Olympia contestant. It makes sense, finally. Anyways, 6 months training like Mike Mentzer, best gains of my life. But then I continued training like him and I stayed stagnant. Like, I was losing strength. I was a shadow of what I used to be. I remember when I first started, I was incline benching 40 kilogram dumbbells. I was really young at the time, by the way. And then once doing Mike Mentzer, I ended up at like 27 kilogram dumbbells. Like, it was a joke. I lost a lot of strength because I was doing too little volume. So I went from the two ends. I went from high volume to low volume. I made progress in both at the beginning, but then they just fell out. It didn't put up with what I was training. I was training too much, but resting too little. It should be like this. Perfect training, perfect rest. This was around the time that I found Mike Mentzer, but I was only going 2 times per week. And I wait. The 2 sessions, each session was 2 exercises, 1 set. That was way too little volume. I got way too fed into this Mike Mentzer low volume training that I made no progress. The interesting thing was that if you do want to gain strength, purely strength, at a very little pace where it just doesn't make sense, it's not even worth it. If you want to train 2 times per week, you will gain strength, but you will not gain muscle. You will not activate the hypertrophy. So you need to find the perfect balance, which I'll go into later on. What's the perfect balance? Let's talk a bit about diet. So number 3 was cutting when I was not supposed to. 1 month after starting my gym journey, I was cutting at 150 pounds. I didn't have muscle to show because cutting reveals muscle. Bulking builds muscle. I did not have any muscle to reveal because I saw this idea on YouTube that to get abs, you need to cut. Abs are made in the kitchen. If abs are made in the kitchen, then look at Eddie Hall. If you had huge abs, you think 25% body fat would hide them. So I finally found out this lesson. You need to bulk to build muscle. So the 4th lesson I learned is perma-bulking. Don't ever perma-bulk. After realizing that I had to bulk, I bulked for like 8 months straight and I got obese. I got love handles. I got this really fat stomach and it just looked horrible. I did gain a bit of muscle, but it wasn't worth it. I became big skinny fat. I started off skinny fat, then I became big skinny fat, which I don't know what looks worse. So don't perma-bulk. You need to go through phases, bulking phases and cutting phases. And ideally, don't cut, do mini cuts. Mini cuts help you keep the same amount of leanness, but without cutting for like 8 months straight. I don't think cutting is worth it. You lose a lot of muscle, you lose your mental health, because I cut like a bodybuilder. I was counting calories, eating this amount of chicken, this amount of rice every day. That was the worst. So obviously cut correctly. And the best way to cut, in my opinion, is doing mini cuts, because you bulk for like 3 to 4 months, you get heavy. Yeah, you do gain a bit of fat, but then you just mini cut. You lose the fat that you gain, maybe little bit of muscle, but then you can just bulk again. So you get heavy, get less heavy, get heavier, get less heavy. At the end, started from here and you came up to here, bulking, mini cutting, instead of just bulking, cutting, bulking, cutting. And number 5, this is one of the most important. When I changed this, I finally started making muscle. Like whatever routine you use, if you change this, you will start making muscle no matter what. And that is that I was using the little weights in exchange for good technique. I thought good technique, you had to use little weights. So I was the perfect form guy. I was a guy sitting on a dumbbell doing seated row cables. I was a perfect scientific technique guy, but I was doing 25 kilograms. I was doing baby weights, thinking that technique is more important than strength when it's not. Here's a lesson that you need to ingrain in your mind. You should aim to lift the heaviest weights in the gym using good technique. Don't ever sacrifice technique for strength. Don't ever sacrifice strength for technique. Because let me ask you this. Have you ever seen big, weak arms? Never. Arnold used to bench 500 pounds. Dorian Yates used to curl 200 pounds. To gain muscle, you need to gain strength, and you do it with good technique. Now, if you want the exact system that finally transformed my skinny fat body, you can click on this video right now. Because everyone just throws out information out there, but nobody ever gives an exact system on what to do. This is the exact system that finally transformed my skinny fat body. I gave it to my friends, they changed their lives with it. I used it on myself, and I changed my life with it. So click on it and watch it right now. Or don't, and you can stay stagnant, and you keep watching videos forever. Click on it and watch it right now, and change your life.